good.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Cats Coverage Basketball Podcast. I'm Trace Terrell. We got Michael Epps down there in the navy blue shirt. What is something like that? Navy blue, I think. I'm going to roll with that. What's that say?
Keeneland.
Come on, man.
Tis the season.
I'm sad we're not having opening day tomorrow, but it'll be here. It'll be here. We'll have a great time.
And we got Tim Smith up there running the production.
Yeah.
Right now without Tim. He's the one that he puts all the wires together and all the cameras in front of our faces, things like that. So, but guys, it's been quite some time. I mean, I'm ready to. It's so great to actually be back here with y'all because we talk a lot off the camera, but like we haven't done one of these in a while. Just with the postseason has been so busy, scheduling so hard. We're all three in different areas, but last time we did this was before the SEC tournament, before that national trip. A lot's happened since then, and as that would be too much to kind of go through and kind of recap, and people already know about all that. But I kind of want to just make this our final basketball podcast of the Mark Pope's first year at Kentucky. I mean, man, it went by a little fast, like actually really fast. It's hard to think we're right around 12 months from that first press conference and Mark Pope got here and we were all blown away. Before we get into it, guys, how you been? Michael, let's throw it to you. Then Tim will throw it to you right after. Michael, how you been, man?
Yeah, this Sunday, if it's not the exact day anniversary, but this Sunday 1 year ago was when news broke that Cal was leaving, right? It was the day before the Final Four, right? Before the national championship game.
Yeah.
And then he came out. He didn't want to announce on Monday that he was leaving, so he waited till Tuesday because he didn't want the shine of the national championship game to be taken away from him.
I didn't believe that for 1 second.
But when in reality there's a chance that could have been a negotiating day with trying to get Mitch Barnhart to let him come back or whatever. I mean, there were so many rumors with that. But yeah, man, it was a good great season, and it's been great doing the pod with you guys. So it's good to kind of do one more recap and look ahead to next year because the future's certainly bright for the boys.
Yeah. Tim, what about you, man? How you been?
I've been good, man. Life's been busy, but do wish the Cats were still playing, man. I mean, I'm satisfied with where they ended up, but I mean, of course, you want to keep them going on as long as they can.
Yeah. So looking at kind of the overall record, to kind of give our last thoughts on this first, and we can go as long as y'all want on this, but our last thoughts on kind of the first year, looking at the record, finished 24-12. By my count, they went 1-1, 3-2 in the postseason. 3-2 in the postseason. Got one win in Nashville, one win against Troy, one against Illinois, and then, man, kind of let's just jump into it. Kind of get our thoughts. We threw a clunker against Tennessee, a team that you beat twice in the regular season by a solid amount. That first one was in Knoxville without Butler. Jackson Robinson was available. That team was super, super beat up. We were just kind of getting used to beat up at that time, and you have a gutsy win against the number 8, if I believe, on their own court, Tennessee. Then you bring them back home barely 3 or 4 weeks later, and you beat them again. I think you had a Butler back for that. Some of the game, did he not go out in the middle of the game?
He left with 8 minutes left. He re-injured his shoulder.
Yeah.
But in the first one, Andrew Carr was still having a bad back. He barely played.
Yeah.
And then didn't even play in that Vandy game. But so he was back for that second one, but still not quite himself. It really took him until kind of once February got going, he really found a groove.
Yeah, man. Did any of y'all see, was that a shock to any of y'all that they do an absolute dud up there? I thought it was going to be a throwdown. Whoever's playing the hottest that day wins. Within 4 or 5 points, and it felt like, man, 2 minutes, 3 minutes into the game, it's like, okay, well, wow, Kentucky don't have a shot in this, and they absolutely got beat, BEAT from the jump. It really threw me through a loop of how they just kind of do that absolute kind of bad of a performance. I can tell you how they did, but I did not expect any of that. Was that a shock to either of you two?
I'll say that it's not really a shock, but it's a disappointment. Just kind of, they've had those really bad losses that we kept kind of going back on in that season. So, I thought they'd fall a little short. But I definitely had a hope against Tennessee, considering we did beat them twice in the season. But it's hard to beat a team 3 times, even though Alabama did it to us.
Yeah. Pope said in his radio show on Monday that they just lost to the better team. Tennessee was the better team that night. And it's tough when you're I just wanted to pull up the stats just to remember, but I didn't even need to pull this up to remember how bad Kentucky was on the offensive glass or on the defensive glass, given Tennessee 16 offensive rebounds. It's like if you're not going to make shots and you're not going to rebound, you're going to let the other team rebound, their missed shots, then you're going to struggle. It's just you're not going to win the game. And Tennessee's too good of a perimeter defense team. I was surprised at how really not just this game, but kind of ever since conference play started, Pope talked before the season that he wanted to chuck up 33s a game. And they just did not hit that a lot. I don't know if they hit that at all in conference play. I would have to go down in the list of games, but they only shot 15 threes against Tennessee. And you're not a good enough post-game, mid-range game. Like, you're not good enough inside the arc to survive and beat teams in the second weekend of the tournament if you're not going to shoot threes. Like, we knew you had to live and die by the three. We've been talking about it since we started the season. And so to only shoot 15 threes, I think, is a failure there. You made 6 of them, but you just weren't the good enough team that day. And it's tough because, I agree with you, Trace. I thought it was going to be a close game. I thought I didn't think you were going to be able to beat Houston, but I thought you had a chance to win this game. But I thought it would be really close against Tennessee just because the last 2 games were so close. And even if you lost, it was going to be a slugfest. And you could tell from the opening minutes that it just wasn't going to be that. You couldn't rebound, couldn't shoot. Tennessee jumped out to that big lead, and it was basically it.
Yeah, Tim, to segue to you, some people for a little while there, the days following the game, some people have said it didn't hurt as bad. Let me preface a little. Kentucky fans wanted to win this game. It's Tennessee. You can ruin their chances of a great season. And if Rick Barnes is retiring, you can end it, cap off their great year by beating them in the tournament, sending them back to Knoxville. As a Kentucky fan, I don't mean you grew up with this stuff. Did it help you, Annie, that we absolutely got dominated and beat? Or would you have preferred it been close and then get, still lose? I know it still hurt, but did it help you at all that we absolutely got whooped and it was over from the jump, or no?
No, I always want our guys to play well, and I want to watch them entertaining for our sake. But it hurt either way. If they beat us on a buzzer beater shot or something, that would really hurt. But no matter what, the season ends, and so it's more so like, okay, yeah, that hurts, but on to the next one, I guess. Can't soak on it for too long.
Yeah, and the assist to turnover ratio was another big one. Like Pope said, he wanted it to be 2-1, 2 assists to 1 turnover. They had 10 assists and I think 12 turnovers. This says 11, but I thought it was 12. But either way, that's a ratio under 1, and you wanted to be at 2. And it's really hard to get that ratio to 2 in the SEC, especially with it being as good as it was this year. But you got to get that higher up. So the box score, just the team stats says it all. And I don't know. I thought I was just expecting a little bit more out of the guys. Lamont Butler had a great game, but I was really expecting more out of him too. He had a couple kind of frustrating turnovers. And as a veteran point guard, you when everyone else is kind of scrambling and the offense isn't going well, you need your point guard to just be like, all right, let's settle down. Let's get into our sets. Let's do our thing, and I just didn't get that calming presence from Lamont in this game. Like he's done at other times and what you need from your veteran point guard, but you can't blame him. He had 18 points, but Ortega and Amari were good. But yeah, Kobe Brea, just 5 points. He'd been great second half of the year. We were talking about he only got hot once every 5 games. And it's all right, we need to trim that once every 4, once every 3 games, maybe once every other game. And this was the one you just knew it was going to happen where, he wasn't on. So it's tough, but it was a great team. And it sucks to lose to Tennessee. But Trace, to answer your question, I'd rather make it close. I'd rather lose by 2 points than 13. Losing by double digits and just kind of getting smacked from the opening tip is just kind of doesn't sit well, especially with it being against your rival.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would too. And kind of what both you said, Tim said it would hurt either way. It did hurt either way. And to kind of you have the whole season. This is what it's all about: the journey, those late Tuesday night SEC road wins, and Gonzaga West Coast comebacks at after midnight. Like the journey is what it's all about, and ramping up till March and getting there, and then just dud, like not even show up, like that hurt just as much as lose. I would have rather lost by a couple points and say, man, if one more shot, or if they didn't get that one free throw or put back, or you would have had that game. It kind of just feels like you did all of this for not the words nothing. I want to come up with a better word than that, but just to stop it. It got cut too short unexpectedly. We took a left turn when you didn't realize that was coming up. And I don't know, man. I just think that makes you always wonder, like this team at full health. Now everybody could say this as well, but this team at full health, with a solid performance, not just a dud that you don't expect to happen, how far they could have gone. I think they would have lost in the next round of Houston, but like there's not a doubt in my mind that we had a chance to beat Tennessee that day until the ball tipped off. And to have, we, like you said, we live and die by the threes. That was when this team was as good as they can be. And for somewhere around December, we started seeing that shot from 30 3-pointers a game get immediately cut down to 2018, and they were trying to get 30 a game, but teams just found a way to get past our picks and guard out on the 3-point line to keep us from shooting. But that's not an excuse. You've still got to find a way to get those shots off. Otherwise, you're not, like you said in your exact words, you're not that good of a team to win inside the post. You've got to live with the three and find those other ones when they leave you open down there because they're trying to guard you at the three. You've got to find, there's no excuse for that. You've got to find a way around that. And, that was absolute dud. There's really no other words beside that, but I did want to kind of go into I was there for it, and I got to go in that post-game locker room after the loss and just how awful that was. I mean, as soon as these players' seasons ended, half a dozen of their college career have ended as well. Then you got to go put a camera in their face, and with their tears coming down, like, man, that was absolutely hard. Nobody wanted to do that, but like that, we still got a job to do. And I just hope for the ones who didn't catch the videos of the post-game interviews of just how enjoyable these guys wanted, how much they wanted to be here from the jump, from the very beginning of the start of this last June. They all said how grateful they are to be here, and they rode that wave the whole way through and absolutely said, Kobe Bryant said, somebody's got to come take this jersey off of me. Andrew Carr's exact words said, if you're in the portal, come to Kentucky. And then I think what capped it off is Lamont Butler and Otega Oweh both kind of saying, we set the culture here. And they kind of said the words for the whole group. They were kind of the two leaders on the team. We set the culture of what it's going to be like at Kentucky under Mark Pope, and to have pride to be here, the name across the front versus the back, and everything else will come, and how to be a team. And that just kind of gave me so much fuel and motivation of what's to come. Kobe Bryant said, Mark Pope's got this program in great hands. This program's in great hands going forward. Now, I fully believe that, but to kind of hear that from the guys going through it, through the whole negotiations with the contracts, going through the hard parts of the season, and then right after the season ended, they still kept standing 10 toes down. I'm excited for what's to come. This was a great year. We kind of went in real in depth last time we did the podcast about that it was a success, and we gave our letter grades. But Sweet 16 in your first year, going through the hardest SEC of arguably of all time, injuries. It's hard to beat a team 3 times, man, but I'm so pleased with what year one went, how it went. Now you can pick and choose little things that you wish could have went better, but I'm happy with how it went. I'm ready for year 2.
Yeah, I feel like what you were hinting at with the players is there was no entitlement for any of these guys, and I loved last year's team. With Reed and Rob and all them, and I felt like they had a higher ceiling, and I was expecting a lot out of them. And I was crushed, after that loss. I was just like, gosh, that team, really, I was rooting for them. And I thought that they had a chance to do something really special, especially with Reed. But this team, I think, had a better, like you were saying, Trace, a better kind of evolution throughout the season. They had their chapters that they overcame. They early in conference play, they were horrible with offensive rebounding. And then that Georgia game that was brutal. And so then they got better with that. Then they were a bad free throw shooting team. And then they were a bad fouling team. And they kept putting it together, kept evolving, kept getting better. Jackson Robinson was hitting his stride, and the back-to-back 20-point games, and really looked like the guy that we all were expecting to see coming from the Big 12 Sixth Man of the Year. And then, when he gets hurt, it's just like, gosh, it's really tough. And I was going through all of my footage because I do, some, melts or file videos where like you put together a clip of all like this player's best highlights, and then you do it for all the players. So that's what I've been doing. And when I was cutting it for Jackson, I was like, man, that game at Tennessee, he hits like he kind of like backs down Zakai and has like a nice fade mid-range and on top of the threes. And it's like, man, this guy's a pure scorer. And so it was tough to see that, but I did really enjoy seeing this team. As I said, no entitlement, coming in here like ready to prove a lot of people wrong and set the standard here. And they evolved throughout the season. They got better. They had some interruptions with injuries, but that just happens, man. It's sports. But I found myself rooting for them, and I enjoyed this group. There were a lot of really cool players on this team. Kobe Bryant's, just a cool cat. Lamont Butler is such a nice guy. Always gave great sound bites to us. So really was tough to see it end that way, but you knew it was going to end at some point. Without being at full strength, there was just not really a chance that they were going to, really make a Final Four. But they had a chance. That path was set for them, but they just weren't good enough to beat two really, really good defensive teams in Houston, and then Tennessee, and then Houston. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I mean it hurts my heart, man, seeing Jax hurt. Just the potential he has, and then I mean, just the story of him testing the NBA waters, didn't like where he was, came back playing the best basketball he's been playing, and then he has an injury like that. It hurts, and I mean, these guys, they gave it their all. They try to play through everything. I mean, Lamont, he's a freaking warrior, man, out there playing with his shoulder strap. I can't even tell you for how long, half the season, maybe.
Oh yeah. And
Carr as well with his back, and we saw him work through that when we saw him get a lot more comfortable out there. And but I mean, it definitely had its positives too. Like you're saying, Michael, this team, went into the year ready to prove everybody wrong, and I mean, I think they proved a lot of fans wrong in a good way, because a lot of these guys, or a lot of the fans, didn't really expect us to make it past the first weekend or kind of make it into March, especially with how tough SEC basketball was. But, this team, they fought, they had their good wins. And like you're saying, Michael, you really get to see them grow throughout the year. And individually, Otega Owe, and just the massive jump that he took from Oklahoma to here, and the potential he has going into the junior year, man, it's exciting times to come.
Yeah, I think the three huge, awesome things you could take away from this season is obviously you made it out the first weekend. You got to the second weekend for the first time since 2019. So you got that. Number two, all the ranked wins, 8 of them over top 15 teams, sets a record. Awesome. But the biggest one is you beat 2 of the 4 teams in the Final Four. That's awesome. You beat Duke and Florida. In that Florida game, when I was looking back at that footage, I mean, the Duke game was awesome too, but you kind of knew it was like you're catching Duke at the right time, because every single second they're getting better, especially when you have a baby Cooper Flag out there that still couldn't dribble and had turned it over twice at the end of the game. He's not doing that one more time this whole season. But that Florida game was just awesome, man, at Rupp, and both teams just shooting the lights out and playing such a high level of basketball, healthy with Carr and Jackson. That was an awesome game. So those are 3 really awesome things that you can hang your hat on. And obviously, Mark Pope having a successful first season, really stimulating a lot of excitement in the fan base. So the future is bright, and you have 3 really good things to hang your hat on for his first season.
Yeah, and just overall the product they put out on the floor. I mean, it's just been fun to watch this team play basketball. I mean, it's not been a chore to watch. And I liked last year's team, and I liked the team before, and I liked every team. There's not been a team I don't like. But some games, when you get that non-conference opponent, there's certain scenarios that came a lot up there in the Cal era, especially towards the end, that felt like a chore sometimes.
UNCW.
Yeah, exactly. This was a great product of college basketball that was put on the floor game in and game out. I felt like this team was prepared for every single moment. The ones that they have lost is just kind of that we saw a lot of consistent things, such as like getting beat on the inside, getting out rebounded, and not boxing out. The simple stuff like that does make a difference. But overall, this team put up a lot of points. And just if you just take the most basic, casual, unknowledgeable college basketball fan, just watching this team put up a lot of points is fun enough. And so I had an absolute blast watching these guys grow. None of them seem scared of the moment because of their experience. There's a lot of value in those guys coming here for their last year. And also just, I've hit this point a lot too, these guys saying, hey, I got one chance left at college, one chance. And I'm going to go spend it in Lexington with a new coach, with players. Not one of them knew each other last year outside of the Kentucky boys, outside of them, but like none of these guys knew who each other were. They might have played against each other once in a 2-year span, but like they didn't know anybody. Kobe Bryant said we were all strangers and now we're family. He said that right after their loss. And just it's such a, often you say built for March, and March is how you remember teams, but like in my opinion, the journey is what it's all about. And like I try to explain that to a lot of people who are casual kind of fans and don't really understand how passionate it is for all of us and stuff. Is like, those late after the halftime of Gonzaga, I'm like, I was so mad. I was like, we're gonna lose this game, and we were up after
the game off
after midnight watching them come back. And then like that Jackson Robinson game down at Mississippi State was so special. And Mark Pope went up into the kid in the wheelchair, and like all these moments that we're going to forget about over time were so fun to fully experience as they went on. And the Duke win that was so early in the year opened my eyes to what this year can be. Winning in Knoxville, Lamont going 33 points against Louisville, Florida in Rupp, all the spotlight of Florida, and how those two teams throwing down. Outside of the Arkansas loss, that weekend was huge. I've never felt something like that. Weekend was huge, having their return. And just this whole year was, I've not had this most, I'm sure you can see the passion coming through me and through my words, but like I've not had this much fun covering a team in a long time. I mean, this year is it thundering where y'all are?
That's just you. Yeah, man. That's just you.
I didn't know. I thought the ceiling was coming down. Mother Nature for ruining my spill. Anyways, I'm sure that probably came through to some people, but this year, man, was absolute blast. And yeah, you can nitpick, and I don't give him an A+. It's an A for me, and there's reasons why. But like overall, man, at this time last year, this very date last year, Mark Pope was not our coach. There's about to be almost not a roster here in a couple of days. When he got here, there was no roster. And just kind of to get to the second weekend for the first time was an absolute joy, getting that off your shoulders. And then the journey, man, I've had an absolute blast. And Tim, I kind of want to segue to you, let you have your thoughts on how the season ramped up for you as well. And just how I don't want to put words in your mouth. How fun was this season for you as a fan and as media too?
I mean, as media, it was crazy just to start off the bat with that press conference, You saw the excitement on everybody, but then you get there and it's like half the arena seats are covered by curtains. And then as this 30 minutes go by, you see them retract those curtains and eventually the whole bowl fills up.
That's the craziest thing I've ever.
Crazy, man. They had no idea how many people were going to show up.
That's still the coolest thing I've ever got to do.
It was
still one of the craziest moments. It's the craziest things I've ever seen in sports ever.
Yeah, and just to start the season off with that, I mean, that's kind of how you knew that this season was going to be something. And it was refreshing. I'm not saying in any way that Cal's players didn't come to Kentucky because they didn't want to play for Kentucky or whatever. But these guys like truly wanted to play for Kentucky. They, Mark Pope bleeds blue, and he was really pushing out onto the guys, and they seem to have kind of adopted that. And you could just tell, especially at the end of the season, that they were just really, really excited to play for Kentucky. And I mean, the stories like you're saying, those big wins and kind of starting off the season, not thinking, we're going to compete against Duke or Gonzaga. I personally didn't really think that. And they come out and win those games. Like I said, I turned that Gonzaga game off at halftime and turned my mind to something else. And I checked the score and I was like, oh, okay, I need to check back into this. But just those stories, man, they stack onto each other, and overall it's a really good season. Loved seeing them grow and get to know these guys as people.
Yeah, I've been saying this for a while, man. The journey of the season, yeah, I mean, that's what's the most fun for me. And March is where you make your legacy, how the teams get remembered. But yeah, the journey was absolutely fun this year. Seeing this team just kind of what the Mark Pope era would look like and unfold for the first time, and have a lot of great moments along the way. It's awesome, man. And I guess we could finally close the chapter on year one. And I hate to make it all about like Mark Pope. I know this is Kentucky, but like, the first year, it's about the Mark Pope first year at Kentucky. Like, okay, now we can turn the chapter. We're into the era now, year 2, Kentucky basketball with Mark Pope. I kind of wanted to break down looking at the roster. I mean, there's not been a whole lot of movement, but kind of pulling up the roster right now. So far, who we know are leaving are the 6 seniors. Give me about 5 seconds. Here we go. So Lamont Butler, Kobe Brea, Jackson Robinson, Amari Williams, Ansley Almanor, and Andrew Carr. 6 gone for sure, off the roster, out of eligibility. I can't wait to follow those guys along as they go in their professional careers, and I'm sure they're gonna have a lot of ties to Kentucky because those guys loved it here. It seemed like. Kind of going to the rest of the roster, we got Kerr Kriisa very quickly entered the portal. There's been rumors about where he's gonna go. No one really knows. There's little rumors St. John's joining Bryce Hopkins and Rick Pitino. That would be kind of cool, but I don't know how much truth there is with that. But he's in the portal. It doesn't seem like he's coming back at all. So I'd kind of lock that in. We've got Travis Perry in the post-game locker room. I mean, you assume these guys are going to come back, but like he was asked, are you coming back? And he's like, yeah, certainly. Yeah, I'm here. So you can 95% lock in and Travis. I mean, people expected him to be back anyways, but he said yes. Travis Perry going to come back. Then you've got left Brandon Garrison, Trent Noah, Colin Chandler, Otega Owe. Now, I'm confident to say all 4 of those guys, I'd say 3 of the 4 are coming back. I would be okay with saying 4 are coming back. But a lot of people online right now, they have got me in the comment sections of these guys have not said they're coming back yet. They still have the option not to. They've not confirmed, yes, I'm at Kentucky next year. I think a lot of people need to understand that. Now, I think Brandon Garrison has a chance to be one of those guys who could leave. I mean, he might get offered by some programs for more of a role. I don't know how Mark Pope is, how much of a role they're going to offer to him. Maybe that keeps him here. I think I'm okay with locking in Trent Noah is going to be back. I think Colin Chandler is going to be back, unless he just got a starting role somewhere else, which I don't think he's earned another team to come get him as a starter. I think he's had a great opportunity at Kentucky. And then Otega Owe. Every team's going to go throw this guy a major bag. I put out a tweet in the Troy game. I was like, Kentucky needs to take out an absolute corporate loan to keep this guy in Lexington. Now, in terms of personality, I think he wants to be in Lexington. I think it's, it would be a money thing for him not to be in Lexington. I think next year he could be the focal point of this team. Kentucky's going to give him just big enough bag as possible. And then I hope some people are also realizing with Otega Owe, he could fall in that scenario of a Janai Broom, of a Mark Sears, those type of guys that you're talked about from the beginning of the year of being a National College Basketball Player of the Year. Like, you get marketed that way from the beginning of the year. Unless you mess that up, you're going to be the talk of college basketball, one of the top 5 players for the whole season at Kentucky with all the spotlight. Like, I think there's a major opportunity for, if you're just trying to build the Otega Owe brand, to stay at Kentucky. And I think he does. Well, Michael, we'll segue to you, kind of going through that roster. What are your overall thoughts about who's leaving, who's coming, all that stuff? I know it's April, but still.
Yeah, Otega has a chance to be like a preseason first-team All-SEC guy, which he could be a preseason first-team all-whatever conference he picks. To say that they're all coming back is hard to say nowadays in college basketball. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if any of these guys entered the portal, because it's just how it is. I would probably be the most surprised if Trent Noah entered the portal, because Pope talked about him highly on the radio show, and I ran that soundbite tonight and ran a little sidebar about Trent Noah. And if anyone is locked in to playing time out of like Trent, Travis, and Colin Chandler, Trent would be the guy that's like, all right, Trent is for sure, you would think, getting playing time next year. Travis, if there's a Caden Lewis and Pope gets another point guard, veteran point guard, then Travis can be a third stringer, and it'll basically just be like it was this year. If he can't defend, he's just not going to find minutes. So I wouldn't, even though he's a Kentucky boy and he you would think would want to stay at Kentucky, I wouldn't be surprised if he left. I would be pretty surprised if Trent left. Colin Chandler seems kind of like he could possibly be locked in to be the backup 2 guard. If Jasper's going to start at the 2, he's a good combo guard, and Jasper will start. I think Colin Chandler could come off the bench and be that guy. He finally showed a little bit of confidence in his shot. He was starting to hit a few threes, kind of looking more comfortable just out there on the floor overall, just a tiny bit better defensively. So he could be a backup 2 guard here, and I think it'd be cool for him to stay. Garrison, I could see him entering the portal. It's just how it is. Like, I think he could leave for sure. But he could be in line to start next year. I don't think he should start. I think he's not good enough to start. I think you really need a good rim protector, which you didn't have this year. You need a good enforcer, good defender down low in the paint, which, Amari was sometimes, but not really. You got Malachi Moreno coming off the bench who can bring some defense, but he's young. He's a freshman. You need a good rim protector as your starting 5 who can also put the biscuit in the basket. And so would Brandon Garrison want to be a backup again this year? Probably not. That's how I could see him leaving. Those are the 5 with Otega. Otega's got to come back. All right. I mean, he's going to be the guy. I'm sure Pope's going to do everything he can to get him to stay. So I don't see him leaving and going to another school. I think the only chance would be if he just wants to try to be a second-round pick and go. But he's not nearly good enough a three-point shooter to get drafted, I don't think. So I don't see him getting drafted. Maybe test the waters. Maybe he announces this week or next week that he's going to test the waters, maybe, but keeping his eligibility. I don't know. I don't think he would enter the portal. Maybe he enters the portal and does the draft, whatever, I don't see it. I think Otega should be back next year because he's guaranteed to be the guy. He is the guy. He was the guy on this year's team, kind of with Lamont, but Otega is number 1. So I don't know how he could pass up being the number 1 at Kentucky. Yeah. I think the only way you do that is by going in the NBA, but I don't think he can get there. So,
Tim, what about you? You see anybody leaving?
Garrison would make sense. I was kind of thinking that maybe he could get the start. But like you said, Michael, I think a good solid rim protector would be good. So, you could very well say, we're going to look for another option. You could enter the transfer portal or test your waters, whatever it is. He has to come back. Like you were saying, Michael, I actually would I would like him to go to the NBA draft process, the combine, and then, eventually come back. Cause I don't think it ever hurts to do that, see what the professionals say, what the scouts say, what you can improve upon on. And, he's a highlight reel. He's that poster dunk he had, and then the Oklahoma game and 20 points almost every single game, man, I hope he comes back. I'd say Colin Chandler, I'd say he'll probably come back. The way he grew there in those games, and I think during this offseason, he can definitely grow. I think he has really good potential to be a good defender. It looked like he had the fastest hands on the team almost all season, maybe outside of Lamont, but there were so many steals that he got, off of, the gather steps, and he really has really good potential. Trent Noah, they've talked about kind of his offseason plan already. Pope said that he's hoping that he can gain upwards of 15 to 20 pounds. So that makes me feel like Trent might be coming back, where they're already playing in something like that. And just him being a Kentucky boy, definitely want to favor that side of him coming back. And same with Travis Perry. Kentucky boy, he's be like Reed Shepherd. He'd deliver the water to all these guys on the team to stay on the team, I think. So I'd say you could probably count him in to come back as well.
Yeah. I think the thing with Travis Perry is you wonder, there's a conversation, is he good enough to be at Kentucky? If he's not good enough to be at Kentucky, he's good enough to be somewhere. You don't just score 5,000 points in high school basketball. It's the state record. That's something to say for that. There is some level, some program somewhere that Travis Perry will thrive in. I hope it's Kentucky, But at the same time, I don't know if I want, starting point guard Travis Perry. I can tell, I just don't know how good that can be unless it's a junior, senior year type of deal. So if he's not good enough to be at Kentucky at that level that he wants to be, I mean, just off the top of my head, like, what would you all think about like a Western Kentucky where he's from? That's D1. That they can make their goal with that program is just get to the tournament and stuff. I know they don't often, but like he's gonna fill that arena up, or like somewhere down in the area. I know he was recruited heavily by Ole Miss. What if that's a place that they're like, okay, we can give you the starting role? Kentucky's a different level. Like, what would y'all think about other options for Travis Perry?
I don't want to insult him by saying Western. I mean, it's kind of insulting. I don't want to give up on him.
Though. That's the only reason why I go there.
Yeah, for sure. But like for him to not play to Power 4, I don't want to give up on him just yet. I know his defense is not there, but he's still an elite level shooter. He just needs to gain a little bit more confidence, and his defense just has to get better. If it's not, then he's going to struggle. But I don't see a problem in giving it a second year. If he can't fit in here, if he's not getting playing time, then after the sophomore year, it's time to go, take a step down, go somewhere where you're going to get playing time and enjoy your last 2 years of college basketball. I get that. But, maybe freshman year is a little too early. Give it a chance, give Pope a chance, see how you do sophomore season. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, then after 2 years, then I wouldn't be mad at him at all for leaving.
Yeah, you've got to give it a second year for sure. I think he's also thrown in a tough situation as well. I mean, yeah, you got to make the most of the opportunity that you're given, but like we were down on 4th and 5th point guard, and if you were out of breath, no one's coming in to revive you and give you a breather, and against maybe too quick of throwing you into the fire with the Wolves, and he was just kind of also thrown in a tough situation as well.
Well, but at the same time, it's like you have no point guard options, none. You're the only point guard, and we still can't put you on the floor.
Yeah,
like that's tough, right? So you can look at that two ways. Like a 7-footer is a better point guard than you. Like, which I'm exaggerating, but like Amari Williams playing point center at Tennessee, like that worked, at least in that game. And, there were times where it's like, gosh, Travis just can't play. Like, you just can't play him. He's unplayable, which is crazy. But he had his moments too, where he hung in there. Like at Bama, he was pretty solid at Bama. And I was going through that footage and like he made a couple like nice buckets. He wasn't like as awful defensively as he was the first time where Sears just absolutely cooked him like on 2 straight possessions. And it's like, okay, we cannot put him on Sears for the remainder of the ball game, and like everyone in the building knew it, but he was a little bit better. I think he'll get there. I think he should stay, keep working on his game, run the offense, be the backup point guard, unless Pope gets another point guard and then Travis is going to be a 3rd stringer, then you start to get concerned if you're Travis.
See, that's the thing where I'm worried if, playing against the guys of the likes of Sears and Walter Clayton Jr., like those are who you're going against half of your year at Kentucky. Like that's the only thing I'm worried about of him being able to take it with those guys because he didn't this year. I think what Travis Perry's strengths are right now is ball security and shooting the open 3. But like, you can't be the Kentucky point guard and that be your only skill. His height hurts him. Getting to the rim hurts him. He's as tall as us, and he's about as big as us. Like, and I'm saying, like, he's not 6'6", and he's not 6'4", and he's not 220. I mean, his size hurts him, and when you're playing in KHSAA, you're playing against people that size, and you can just run circles around him. I watched him do it for 3 years, but I just wonder if. The Sears and Walter Clayton Jr., those guys, it's hard. I would love to be wrong. I want that guy to thrive here. But, yeah, I think you give it year 2. I'm with you on that and then see what happens with him. But, yeah.
I will say this comment does make sense. But it's talking about how Perry probably wasn't really expecting to play when Kerr Kriisa was still fully healthy. Because, Kerr Kriisa was still the backup point. And so – you probably wouldn't need a 3rd-string point guard, unless injuries happen or whatever it is. But, that kind of makes sense to me. Maybe Perry didn't expect to play much this first year, and going into year 2, maybe pick up a bigger role a little bit.
Perry will get swole and be a menace off the bench. Perry size is his biggest problem right now. I like
I know
that.
it's a different scenario, but like Reed Shepard, I mean, in the summer, he said, I will go get water for the team. And then out of nowhere, he gets drafted 3rd overall. I mean, like we didn't see that coming either. I did a little different scenario, but like, it's making the most of your opportunity. Again, everything we're saying, I hate to say it. I love the kid and the pride from being from Kentucky. I hope I'm wrong, but like, we got a second year where we got to get a lot of some product to look at to see my final thoughts on Travis Perry for sure. Where you go, Tim? Are you got any more of these comments you can throw up on here? I can't see them where I'm at. You got it.
Yeah, I'm just reading them here. Nobody said I still hate Leitner.
Well, we still do. We still do.
Yeah. Perry's the only one I'm worried about hitting the portal. What's these rumors about Otega in the portal trying to get a bigger bag? No, I mean, you can't blame Otega for, recruiting himself a little bit, but I think he'll get a good amount of money here. That's for sure. I mean,
I wonder
how deep the money goes, just because you didn't have enough to go get Caleb Wilson. Like North Carolina just kind of outbid you on him, and he's a really good player. So now you really need Nate Ament right now. Like if you could get him, who was just playing in Brooklyn with Malachi in the McDonald's game, like you go get him, that would be crazy. He was supposed to commit, didn't. Kentucky's in his top 5 with Louisville, with Arkansas, with a couple other. You go get him, he's like 6'9", like that'd be huge. Because really you need like a couple power forwards. If you have Garrison and Malachi, those are your 2 bigs. You got Otega and then, get another 3. And then you got Jasper and Chandler. And then you got Caden and Travis. Like you're looking at a solid little depth chart there, but you have no 4s. Like who's going to play the 4? Like who's Andrew Carr? Where is that? Nate Ament could possibly be that guy. Or that's really what you're going to have to hit hardest, because Cam Williams I don't think he's tall enough to do that. He's kind of like Ansley Almanor a little bit. He's a shooter. He's a better rebounder. So maybe like you could play him at the 4 if you're trying to, just get, 4 or 5 shooters out there. But you kind of need would love just an Andrew Carr duplicate. Like just tell Andrew Carr to just come back for another season, because that's basically what you need on this team. But like Otega being the starting 3 would just be perfect.
Tim, what did you say?
I was going to say that it's kind of just a new day of college basketball. Just as weird as it is, I mean, it's going to be like free agency almost every offseason. People are going to see how much they're worth out there and everything. And I mean, it's just going to keep expanding. I mean, I want to say there's something big right now that's being voted on that would allow like schools to expand their NIL even more. I don't know the full details, but it would be like that allow the schools to pay into the NIL.
It's going to be more official, more on paper, more contract, and more both parties benefit. And I don't know. Yeah, I think it is partially where schools can pay, but there's going to be a cap on each team. And like, it's going to be a lot more structured and saying, instead of one guy getting all this money and then, I'm coming to your school and then later that night he gets outbidded for a couple 500,000 more. Like it's going to be more on paper. We're probably going to know a lot more what's going on.
Gotcha. I'm just curious if it's going to ever turn into like a contract situation. It's like you get a sophomore that enters the transfer portal. It's like, hey, sign a contract here for 2 years. Second you stick around, we double this, whatever it is. I don't know, man. It's crazy times. But what I was just saying is it wouldn't surprise me if every single one of these guys just listens to what other opportunities are out there, see what they're worth, and eventually come back to Kentucky.
Here's a scenario I've said for a while. Like you have to do that because it's leverage. We got Otega Oweh as off the bench from Oklahoma. I have no clue what he made, but we'll give you some examples to make the case. Otega Oweh, we'll give you $300,000 to come to Kentucky off and have a role here. You're not giving Otega Oweh $300,000 again this summer. That number is bumped up. What if it's $900,000? It's like, okay, I can come back and get $900,000. But Duke wants to give me 1.1, and I want to be at Kentucky, but North Carolina wants to give me 1.2 as well. Hey, I want to be here. Match what they have. I want to be at Kentucky, and that you've got to have leverage there. That's part of life.
Which is crazy that now we're just at pro sports negotiating.
Yeah.
Scott Boras out here. It's just crazy that that's what college basketball is, but it's what it is now. This This comment from nobody saying Jaden Quayton's like, there's no way. I was surprised he didn't follow Cal to Arkansas, but he's a good player. But Ament walks like a Duke and talks like a Duke, so he's probably a Duke. We don't need that arrogant energy here. I don't know. He's pretty dang good. If he committed here, I bet you would like him. Posse. I don't know. I'm not going to say the rest of his name, but yeah, I don't know. I think if you keep everybody, if you don't let anyone else enter the portal, Pope really only has to get like 2 or 3 more guys in the portal. If everyone else stays, like the guys we just talked about returning. So that you just need a couple good power forwards and then figure it out. Maybe another point guard, unless he really trusts Travis, and a Caden Lewis. But I think you might need a better, safer point guard option. You need another Lamont Butler to bring in, which could be bad news for Perry. But we'll see. I think Pope's chilling. Yeah, that ruling comes on like April 7th, right? So depending on that, I don't know how that changes. I haven't looked into it enough because it's complicated stuff. But once that comes down, then maybe we'll start to see more guys commit next week.
Yeah, one thing that I want to see as like a priority this offseason is get someone who can protect the rim. I mean, we've got shooters. We're going to get more shooters. We're going to get more guards. I mean, yeah, you want like a dominant Lamont Butler, but if all failed, we have guys who can play point, et cetera. On every game that we lost here this year, 80% of that came from at the rim. I mean, Tennessee just ate us up alive at the rim. Georgia at the rim. Clemson was all around, but like in the post, Ohio State, we just the ones a theme I saw where we lost every time this year was post points, offensive rebounds. I mean, if we could just get someone who can protect the rim on defense, and then we'll figure out the rest. Like that's got to be the priority, one of the priorities, because all of our losses are attributed to that this offseason. And Jamari Williams had a lot of great things, but like defense wasn't it. Brandon Garrison's got a lot of potential, but I don't know if defense is it either. I mean,
it's not, but you need a better rim protector. But they tried to play Garrison and Amari a little bit together, and it didn't really work. Garrison's best moments were when Amari was out of the game. Like when was it, that Georgia game no, not Georgia. It was another game when Amari was in foul trouble. Maybe it was that Georgia game where he played really well. He had some moments. In that Alabama game here in Lexington, he was running a 2-man game with Lamont like really well. So I've seen some moments from Garrison, but he can't really, he's just going to have to play the 5. And if he's your starting 5, do you really want him to be your starting 5? He can't play. I don't think he can play with another big because his shootings isn't good enough. He wants it to be good enough. He wants to keep shooting threes, but they don't fall, and people hype him up, keep shooting, and Pope's gives everyone the green light. But, we saw in March, he was like, hold on, like, don't shoot that shot. that is not the shot that we need right now. You can shoot that in December, but that's not what we need. So unless you're just really confident that shot's going to develop and fall at like a 35% clip, then like you're gonna have to look elsewhere here in the portal, and maybe that's bad news for him. I don't know. Maybe he'll want to go to a team that'll let him shoot it.
So segue into our next topic, a guy that's gonna be in Lexington next year. I've got a thing for y'all. We're gonna go green for Great Crossing High School. Malachi Moreno, our guy got a state championship, Mr. Basketball. I mean, last summer when we were talking about, hey, your senior year's coming up, man. What are you gonna do? What's your goals this year? And, we were all kind of saying, you've got to get, Mr. Basketball. And then his thing was, let's go get a state title, take Great Crossing all the way to the end. Our guy did it. And, kind of another year. Last year we had Travis Perry and Trent Noah in that state tournament game. Mr. Basketball won it as well. So I think we just need a kind of a round of applause. Congrats to our guy, Malachi Moreno, who's been on here often, and he'll be at Kentucky next year. Congrats on a state title, buddy. So I just kind of wanted to give a shout out to him. Let me take this green back off. I don't look that good in green. All right, back to where we were.
Yeah, happy for him. I was there covering the game. He looked great that whole state tournament. Looked great all year. Was a little bit better offensively, which I was excited about, but he's still going to need a lot of work offensively. But I really believe his defense is going to get him on the floor from day one. in college. Like, his defense is legit. His arms are very long, and he blocks a lot of shots. So that will give him minutes. Now, is his offense going to be good enough? You can play through him because he's a good passer, and out of the post. He's used to getting doubles. He's not going to get that as much in college. So what's his bag? Is he going to have a steady little baby hook? Can he go off the glass? Can he pull out a little post fade? What does he have offensively, and how long will that take to develop is the question. Because we know we can get, tip-ins, putbacks, but can you dump it down to him or not? And I think that'll be the deciding factor in like how much you can play him. But I think his defense is going to be good from day one. He's got to put on more weight. He's still skinny, but his defense is so good, man. He's got great instincts around there. He's got great instincts to attack but not foul, which you see sometimes from those big lanky guys that they commit too many fouls, but he doesn't. Now it'll take him a little time in college to adjust to that. He'll get in some foul trouble a little bit, but he's smart and he's good defensively, so I think he'll get minutes, and I'm excited to see what he does here in college.
I would like to see him on that Trent Noah diet plan just to get a little bit more weight on him. He's got the length, but he needs the size as well. I'm excited for what he's going to bring to this team. I think he is going to be a 2-year guy of not 2 year and gone, but like 2 years to get a lot of fill for him. Because I think this first year I don't think he's going to start for Kentucky. I just want to kind of see how he develops in this first year, put on some weight, and then kind of utilize the strength that you just said in the post. He's above the rim. And also it's going to be really nice to have a shot blocker back again, like a dominant shot blocker. You think of the Davis, the Nerlens Noel. Like, I don't know that those are ultra good. I don't know if if anybody can reach those heights. It's hard to say that, but like a guy who's like, okay, he's going to block 1 out of 5 shots that come in there. It's going to be great to have him, kind of like Ugo was great at blocking. That's another name from the past, but like another shot blocker, tall, lanky guy, put you some weight on, man, and see how far you grow in year 2. And just kind of see how he contributes off the bench this upcoming season. I'm ready for him. Tim, we've watched a lot of Malachi this year too. How do you feel about his first year, 4 or 5 months out before it even takes place?
Yeah, man. Shout out to Malachi getting the state tournament and then flying to Brooklyn to play in the McDonald's All-American game. He put up a few points and a few blocked shots there.
He played great.
He did. Yeah, he looked great out there. And I mean, he's an excellent defender, but he's a great rebounder too, which is going to be huge. But I mean, it could have happened to anyone better. He's a great guy, and I can't wait. I mean, you have the Kentucky kids. You always want them to succeed at Kentucky, but to actually kind of know one going into the year and getting to potentially see him grow with the school you've always grown up watching, it's gonna be something cool to see.
Yeah. And last year, we had the ultimate storybook dream scenario with Reed Sheppard, parents play. Y'all know the whole story. Mr. Basketball drafted, all that good stuff. Next year, we're going to be going through an era of almost likely, it's hard to say right now with it being April, of Jasper Johnson, Malachi Moreno, Travis Perry, Trent Noah. What about that, man? That's really exciting to see. Who knows how those lineups and all that stuff will work. I know you're not going to have them all together, but like 4 Kentucky Wildcats on the team, 2 Mr. Basketballs, former Mr. Basketballs. Jasper Johnson's one of the best guards in the country. He just kind of moved away from the state, so he didn't have a chance to get that award. And then Trent Noah, who his resume is just losing in the state championship to Travis Perry. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just right there behind it. That's going to be really special to see just from a Kentuckian standpoint. I'm excited to see that.
I think Jasper's going to be awesome. I think we got a comment here. Heard all the freshmen are 2-year players, but Malachi is projected a late first in 26, late first round pick. What's the truth? I think Jasper could be a one and done. I mean, he's going to put the biscuit in the basket, man. He's a pure scorer. Like, he is a bucket. And I know it's hard to judge because of his prep career. He plays a couple years at Woodford County, then goes to Link, then goes to OTE. And it's like, okay, how do you even judge the competition he's facing? Like, what is he seeing? What is this like? What is it going to be once he gets to college? He's going to be a bucket, man. I think he's going to score from day one. He's got to start. He's the truth. Quick release and unlimited range. Yeah, Justin, you're right, man. I think, he's going to score from outside. Pope's going to love him, man. He's going to be like – I think he could be like better than Jackson's best. Like, that 20 points. Like when Jackson scored 20 and he was on, it was like, man, this guy's good. I think Jasper's going to be better than him. I think he can get to the cup better than Jackson. And he's a great 3-point shooter. He's a great shooter overall. He could score at all 3 levels. But Jasper can get to the cup, and he can finish on guys. He can dunk. So I'm excited for Jasper. Caden, I don't know. I don't know enough about him, but certainly going to be exciting to get him in here. He's a talent, and I wish he got Caleb Wilson, man. That would have been insane. But
about that video of Caleb, he was saying, who do you want to play in? Who do you want to play in college with? And he said, okay, Kentucky commit. I'm like, that's solely what you said earlier, going for the money, not who you wanted to play with.
But maybe you get Nate Ament, but if not, you get some good portal guys. You don't want to rely on freshmen either. Yeah. But you really are only going to have to rely on like 1, maybe 2 freshmen. Malachi is just going to come off the bench. And Caden, I would think he'll probably start. I feel like Pope, I don't know if Pope's a guy that would promise a guy a starting spot, but like Cal like promised DJ he was going to start, and Justin he would start, and like wasn't able to budge off of it, and we know how frustrated fans were at that. But so I don't know if Pope guaranteed, promised a Caden a starting spot. Probably not. I think that could go either way. I would think Pope would probably want to get a veteran point guard to start and have a Caden come off the bench is my best guess. But I think Jasper will start.
Yeah, why am I just now finding out how to view the comments? Wow. Justin, everybody, thank you all for being on here. I just now got access to them.
Appreciate you guys doing these comments. I know sometimes we just pre-record a lot, but in the other times we've been live, I haven't clicked on comments. I just keep it on with private chat there.
One thing I think we also need to talk about is, we also obviously don't know who's coming to the team, that, who's going to be on this team in 2 months that we don't have an idea that they're going to be on right now. Last year we missed out on multiple players in the portal to get, we got Kobe Brea instead. I think Lamont Butler was a big target at first, but like we missed out on some guys to get these guys. I don't think Otega Owe was going to projected to do what he did this year. I think he's going to be a role player. Like with a lot of these guys, we missed out on portal players and came up with the second option, third option, Kobe Brea, Andrew Carr, these guys. And like, there's going to be that. I'm sure there's going to be 1 to 2, maybe even 3 players that are going to be on next year's team that, we're missing out on certain players right now because they're chasing money, staying at home, whatever the reason may be. And it's like, and then who is this guy? Oh, well, he did put up a lot of 3-pointers that day, that scenario. And so there's a lot of names that we just have no way of knowing right now who's going to be on this team next year to factor in. So it is, of course, people watching like right now take into consideration all these predictions and things like that, who's going to leave and go. That's as of today with what our knowledge is as of today.
I will say I've seen one recruit that I'm just like, man, I want that guy so bad. It's the Jaron Pierre guy from Jack State. Dude he is good. I want him. He is a highlight reel.
What I don't know a whole lot about him. What position is he? A guard?
Yeah, he's a guard. I'm pretty sure. Let me make sure. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a guard. But I mean, he is a freak athlete, man. He can jump out of the gym.
Oh, and we do have a player committed. The Tulane guy, Cam Williams, 3-point shooter. Played a lot of minutes down there. Shot 40-something% from the 3. That's gonna, another shooter from the portal. Obviously not just straight solely a 3-point shooter, but another. Is there anybody to compare him to on this team? Probably not.
I said it earlier. He's kind of like Ansley, but he's just a better rebounder. But he's kind of a guy that you're going to want to knock down some shots in the corner.
Yeah. So a lot to unfold. I mean, it is just April 3rd. Like we said at the beginning of this, we didn't have Mark Pope wasn't even – John Calipari was still the coach at this time last year. So we've got a long summer, man, a long summer, a lot to take place. Before we kind of wrap this up, I kind of want to quickly throw at y'all off the cuff with no preparation, without knowing the roster, without knowing the schedule, all that stuff. Looking at the postseason next year. Again, this is such a far-fetched as it gets question. As of April the 3rd, what needs to happen? What's the floor of the postseason? Is it another Sweet 16? Is it around a 32? Like, again, this is so much is going to change this answer in the next few months. But just to throw you on the point, I'll go first to give you a second to think. Well, clearly you've got to make the tournament. I think we got to get past the whole first round crap, losing that. I think, floor is round of 32. That's not Kentucky standard, but like that's just the floor. I think Sweet 16 is realistically like, okay, this is where we want you to be or better. What about you all?
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, it is really early, but this first season team set the bar, pretty high, especially for Mark Pope's first season. They come in and make it to the Sweet 16 when not a lot of people thought they'd really even make it into March. So they set the bar high. Now that Pope has had some time to recruit and everything, I feel like it's just a pure instinct to expect higher.
True.
So I expect higher, but really I wouldn't be surprised if we don't make it past around a 32, similar to what you're saying.
Sweet 16, man. Got to get in the second weekend. It's mandatory here.
Yeah. You both got great points. Yeah, this is Kentucky. I mean, we don't, Sweet 16, those banners don't get hung in Rupp, for a Sweet 16. But again, and if you go off of, okay, they set exactly what y'all said, they set the bar. If you're under the bar, logic tells you that was somewhat of a failure. You didn't go what your expectations were. So yeah, I think you all have convinced me Sweet 16 or better. They did it this year with injuries. They did multiple things taken away from that. But anyways, I guess we can kind of close the book on year one, kind of route this to year two. Before we hop out of here, do y'all have any more topics you'd like to hit before we kind of close this off for a couple weeks, probably until we have some big roster additions and kind of start forming something?
I think this comment from Robbie hits it right on the mark. I trust Pope with whoever he gets after what he done this year with what we had. I'm all in. Yeah, Pope hit it, man. He did really well in the portal. He knows that portal. You got to trust him. Like he proved that you can trust him. Yeah. And he hit on a lot of these guys. So you got to trust him. Future's bright.
Michael, do you want to have a second to boast about your Michigan State? They went to the Elite Eight? Not the result, but like they got farther than Kentucky. Do you want to have a moment? You're a Michigan State guy.
Freaking Janai Broom, man.
But
man, it was close.
I was letting you gloat for a second. Let you be happy about how far they made it, not what happened.
No, man. Izzo's the same way, man. We don't hang Sweet 16s. Izzo's made 8 Final Fours. We have 10 Final Four banners up in that building. Two natties, so up in Breslin Center. We had to make it an ugly physical game, and we did. We won the rebounding margin. Like we made the game the way we needed it to be. Just couldn't hit a shot, man. Couldn't hit a shot.
Sounds like Kentucky.
17-0 run, man. Oh, it kills me. It still kills me. Because if there were a couple of those possessions, getting a couple offensive rebounds and like second, third chance threes, not falling. Like one where I think there was 4. And I was like, guys, you got to hit the right side of a barn. Hit a dang shot. Akins was horrible. Trey Holloman was horrible. Akins finally made a couple at the end, but man, yeah, it was tough. It was tough to see, but great run for Izzo. There was a thought that if he made the Final Four this year that he would retire in his 30th year, 9th Final Four. Heck of a career, but it seems like he wants to get back. He wants to get back, so he's coming back, it seems like. So not retiring, which is great. Holloman hit the portal, but you got fears. I'm hoping Jace Richardson comes back. Praying, but I don't think he will. He's a lottery pick. He's got to go. But
Michael, it looks like you got another Michigan State fan in the comments here.
I don't know. Yeah, Chelsea, let's go green. Yeah, Chelsea. I went to Michigan State. Yeah, it's I think fears. Gosh, if Jace could come back, that'd be great. And then, yeah, and you need a You needed a 3, but then you got Cohen Carr coming back. You got Jackson Kohler coming back, Carson Cooper. Kohler playing that small ball 5, like he was nice in that game. He was the only one keeping us in it, really, when we couldn't hit a dang shot. Yeah, it kills me. It really does, because it was kind of like what happened to Kentucky a little bit, and kind of what happened to Tennessee against Houston. It's like that first half lull, like it just couldn't come out of the gate. But we had that problem all tournament. We had bad starts all the first 3 games. We were coming from behind against Bryant and New Mexico State and Ole Miss, so it was just bound to happen. But was proud of the boys, man. They fought. Was kind of bummed Holloman hit the portal, but then Cohen Carr, and hopefully Cohen Carr stays. Hopefully Jace Richardson turns down the NBA. But yeah, those are my boys.
So are we, for someone who doesn't keep up with Michigan State, are we on a year-to-year basis with Izzo now? Like he's coming back, or probably next summer out, and it will just that scenario?
Yeah, he's getting old, but hey, like Patino's setting the bar right now. Patino's almost 80 years old. He's what, 77?
On the sideline.
Repping that white suit, man, looking clean with a ton of energy. And you could see Izzo's got a lot of energy too. He's still like getting amped up, yelling at his guys. So, I hope Izzo is here to stay for a while. But it seems like he's coming back next year. And yeah, it's kind of a year-by-year thing because he broke the Big Ten record. He's had an amazing career, and he could retire whenever he wants, and he should get a statue outside the Brez, like a Magic Johnson statue out there. Put it next to him, and but yeah, hopefully he comes back. Could have a really good team next year, but Izzo's gonna have to hit the portal because he's got a couple freshmen, but they're not really anything special. So if Jace Richardson leaves. And there's kind of a rumor that Cohen Carr is going to hit the portal, which I hope he doesn't. But Izzo's going to have to hit the portal. And he's an old man. He's not a portal guy. So,
did y'all catch that? While you had mentioned Rick Pitino there, that Arkansas St. John's game was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Like that was a great game until the final 5 minutes.
I was rooting for Cal.
No, I wasn't. You were.
Man, that was awesome.
Hey,
come on.
I made some money on Cal. The money betted on Cal, and I did too. But I wanted St. John's. I thought Arkansas would win. I put the money to back it up, but I wanted St. John's to win.
I was rooting for Cal so bad in that Sweet 16 game, and then they just choked. I was like, "Oh my gosh, you had it."
So what about that though? Just a one last for fun, like Arkansas, Kentucky, BYU, new coaches. They all finished in the Sweet 16. Obviously way past this, everybody benefited from the change, but like they all finished. You wanted someone to take the lead, be like, "Oh, we're the winners of this," blah blah blah. They all finished in the same level. That's kind of odd to see, but oh well, it's kind of a little odd. But anyways, before we wrap this up, for people watching, thank you for watching. It's probably going to be a little bit slower throughout the summer until we get a lot of major news and can talk about a lot. It's hard to talk an hour about one roster addition, things like that. So we might wait a couple weeks, and then y'all know we'll be full blown back for football and basketball, etc. Thank you all. It's been a fun season. Please keep up with us. We're all on Twitter. I know y'all are on Twitter. Follow that. This is on the Facebook page of Cats Coverage. Please follow us there. All this is free to watch. We just ask that you follow it, like it, share it. That helps us. It rewards us. It helps us reach more people. Tim, thanks for throwing everything together the whole year, all these nights, and making this be a thing. Michael, thanks for helping me co-host. And then Tim stepping up at the beginning of the year. Tim was just behind the scenes, and we quickly okay, let's get Tim on this. We all thrived together. Yeah, so man. I appreciate it. It's been a fun year, man. And wow, how fast has it went by. And before we know it, man, we'll be starting next year and ready for another 6 months of
Yep.
But yeah,
appreciate you, Chelsea. Thanks for tuning in. Go Green.
Yes.
I'll see you boys at Keeneland.
Yes.
Not Friday or Saturday. I might go Sunday if it's not raining cats and dogs. But Monday the Ashland, Tuesday the Bluegrass. I'm pumped up, man.
Nice. There you go. Nice. Yeah. Stay safe during these storms, everybody.
I got some family coming.
Trace sounds like you're already getting hit.
Yeah, now that took place, I never heard another one again. I wonder if someone just didn't die in the apartment next to me. Because I've not heard one thunder since, and that was one of the loudest ones I've ever heard.
Well, let's hope not. We're able to check on that.
Yeah, we didn't get to
nice jacket.
We didn't get to show off the jacket. My camera was too low. How do I make this work? There you go. Look at that. That's the best logo, Kentucky logo of all time. You will not get
Facts.
otherwise.
I'm an outsider, and I can agree that is 100% number one.
It's like a thrift jacket. I don't know. I got it at some local thrift store. Got my State Line hat. Always rep those guys. It's a good hat.
Looking like
But-
Jack Pilgrim out there.
Who is it? Oh, this you have a jacket similar like that. Yeah.
Jack's always repping UK.
Yeah. But before we close this one out for year one, thank you all for watching, and I guess on to year two. Let's go, fellas. We'll see you all soon.